revenue growth. So what does that contain?
Business organizations will always have two streams of revenue growth. One, you have current business that you're supporting. Second, the organizations also will be looking at or additional revenue growth opportunities.
My revenue is going to be, let's say, 5x in next few things, and I want to prepare for my IT to be of the same scalable stuff. And then I come to you. How you will start? What is something you need from me?
A year time, a 6 months time would be needed for us to develop what is
Yeah.
needed for the organization.
How you will balance that? It should not be an overspending on the infrastructure.
What we work with the business to understand what minimum viable product is needed to start the initiation of that business level.
Okay, and in that balance, it will be better to rely on in-house teams or outsourcing.
The framework that I use, build, buy, and outsource.
Should I use IT to support IT?
Right, so you have to look at the specific criteria, what fits for what business problem. So then you can take decisions based on it.
How long generally an organization take to get ROI out of it?
So the ROI for these cases where I'm identifying the gaps in the business process and bridging them is within a year, right? So you invest maybe 40 lakhs, 50 lakh rupees to do that particular automation.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the GB show. You have heard me many times saying this before, that IT is no more a support function but business enabler. For any organization, if they want to grow, if they want to give a competitive edge, or if they want to build something good in today's environments, a sustainable business, or if they want to cope up with the competition, like building up automation, doing some great tools, or also increasing the productivity of their current team, current existing infrastructure, optimization, what they have to do is the digital transformation. So any organization which starts with digital transformation require a proper planning, else you end up losing instead of gaining something. So to do the digital transformation, you need to have the right kind of strategies, and I must say technology strategies. So yes, that's the topic for the day, and we are going to deep dive what digital transformation is all about, how you can start strategizing about it, how you can actually put your right infrastructure in place, right team in place, and have the technology strategies to optimize or do the right kind of digital transformation. To have a discussion on this particular topic, I have with me Jayateerth Mirji. He is VP Technology from TeamLease Services. Let's deep dive into the discussion. Hello Jayateerth, welcome to the GB show.
Thank you very much. First of all, I really thank you for inviting me for this discussion. It's going to be really a very fruitful conversation today.
I hope so, and I am expecting that my audience is gonna learn a lot from your experience. You have been, in this particular industry from more than 2 decades, right? And have been developing ITs, serving IT, and I will say you are breathing in and out in the IT, right? So I think that is the experience which I want to leverage on from your all past experiences. I will love to learn the different part of technology strategies. Okay, but before we go into that strategy part, most of the organization today, we know that they need digital transformation. How you think for any organization, they come to know that, okay, now I should go for a transformation. The current infrastructure or the current systems which I have in place will no more, suffice for me, and I should be going for transformation. So what is that one thing which kicks in and organization have to go?
Sure. First of all, I think digital transformation is a continuous journey. It's not a one project that you start and execute and complete.
Okay.
So for any large organization, right? So digital transformation requires to be structured in a framework. So the framework that I use is at a very high level category is that all the projects, the technology projects that you are selecting should fall under critical areas, right? The projects which are supporting your revenue growth,
Mm-hmm.
the projects that support your organizational productivity improvement across all your business organizations, business processes. Then the projects that improve your engagement with your clients and your B2C, if you're a B2C customer, then B2C, or if your associates or employee. We are a staffing company. We have 3.5 lakh associates are there. How do we improve digital connect
Okay.
with the clients and as well as your associates or customers is the third element of that. The last one is an important one, is that how do I do this with information security as well as technology's cost in control. With this framework, when you define your projects, identify ROEs across the projects, that will become your fundamental framework for your technology strategy.
Okay, fair enough. And from those strategies, then you can deep dive that where I need to go for transformation and what I can build around. But you mentioned two, three good point, or you have given me that thought to start with. You first mentioned revenue growth, and then you mentioned ROI optimization and engagement. So I will like to break this into pieces, and will like to deep dive into each and one aspect of it. So uh, revenue growth. So what does that contain? So when we talk about revenue growth in IT, how actually I can leverage the revenue growth?
See, business organizations will always have two streams of revenue growth. One, you have current business that you're supporting, and to scale that business, right, to grow that business is one element of it. Second, the organizations also will be looking at the alternate or additional revenue growth opportunities. So the technology role first is to how do I support the organization's scale improvement, right?
Okay.
The technology solutions, the infrastructure, as well as the products that we have deployed already, can they support the growth that the sales team is actually bringing in, the business teams are bringing in? Do I need to work on performance and scalability improvements on my technology solution? That is, we have to identify it, correlate to what business growths are projected. Is it linear? Is it exponential? It is expedited. Take decision based on what is the revenue growth projections are there, and support to your technology solutions in that direction. Second is, if the businesses are thinking about starting new revenue lines, right? If the revenue lines are new, does that require a new product, right? And should I actually build that product or work on combining certain products that are already available for me as a COTS product and provide a solution to support that business line?
Okay.
So in that framework, if you work on it, so you will be able to support whatever is the demand coming from the business growth perspective.
Okay, and how this journey starts? Like, if I say revenue growth is my aspect, and as a, let's say, assume I'm a organization which is working into some space, and I have my sales and marketing teams, and we are projecting that okay, this is something going to happen, and my revenue is going to be, let's say, 5x in next few things, and I want to prepare for my IT to be of the same scalable stuff, and then I come to you. Okay, right? You are managing the IT, and I am saying that this is my requirement. So, how you will start? What is something you need from me? What will be the base you will keep, and you will ensure that it's ready? So, step by step
So
approach.
very
I
good
will
question. Actually, the collaboration becomes very important.
Yeah.
The projection plan, we work with the sales teams to understand what is their business development plans, right? So 2-year plan, 3-year plan, 5-year plans, right? So, and then if we translate those business aspirations into what will be my technology requirements. Should I work on performance and scalability improvement of the existing platforms, or do I have to write another set of products to support upcoming growth aspirations? Based on that, I have to start planning now. Usually, definitely, for technology team, it's important to get some runway before the business process actually takes over. So a year time, a 6 months time would be needed for us to develop what is needed for the organization. So we work on jointly. The collaboration is very important to understand in what area the businesses are planning to grow, in what areas additional, I was talking about the additional revenue lines are there. Then when do they plan to actually kickstart? And then plan your technology projects aligned with that business objective. So when you do this collaboration, it is easy to manage. Many a times it's possible, in my previous experience, it has happened that the new opportunity is identified and then they want to get started with the next month, right? So then technology team starts working on expedited growth. How do I develop faster? Right? So in that, there is possibility of mistakes are possible.
Exactly.
So learning from those experiences, what we usually do is that work on those potential areas, give some number, right? What is the probability of these, right? Not every sales aspirations will become materialized, right? So what are the probability of this business growing faster, higher? In that area, we start investing on that. Once we start doing that, then there is a collinearity between what the businesses are planning and what the technology team is execution is aligned with that.
Okay, fair enough. 2 points I will take out of it. You're saying, the development sometimes need to be start fast, and then another point I will like to have a question on this as well. But before that, because it's for revenue growth we are talking about, and business has a projection, and sometimes business may or may not be able to, fulfill those growth points which the plan which they have. So we have to take a cautious step before we are investing. So how you will balance that? It should not be an overspending on the infrastructure, and a right kind of balance. And if they able to meet the target, I should able to support it. If not, I will also keep control on my investment and
Absolutely.
things, right?
Especially I'm talking about the infrastructure is easy to adjust.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the development as well, right? So development, again, what we work with the business to understand what MVP, right? Minimum viable product is needed to start the initiation of that business line.
Okay.
Right? If you're talking about revenue growth in a separate business line, we are a staffing company, so we're working on an add-on where we also work with the agents, right? So in a staffing company, it is an employment model, but agent is that we have a contract with the people, and that is a slightly different model. So same technology solutions that I have, but I have to modify it to make it work for contract labor, right? Or an agency. So I worked on it, but I'm not working for the large scale project development, right? I work on MVP, develop that, and try to match whether the business growth is happening in that direction, and then reevaluate once again.
Okay.
So then in that process, your investment on technology or proportionate IT infrastructure is not going to be waste of time and effort. So identifying that balance is very important.
Okay, and in that balance, it will be better to rely on in-house teams or outsourcing. So, which model works good in these kind of situations?
I think it has to be evaluated, right? So the framework that I use, build, buy, and outsource.
Okay.
Okay, so there's outsource element also. It's because I have a technology team with capability, little bit of a capacity that I have a constraint to work with. So if it is core to our business process, then in-house, because we understand, technology teams also understand the business processes very well. We've been working on these platforms for years together, so they understand the platforms very well. So you take a decision. If it is core to your business process, you have to do an in-house development. If it is a niche area, let's say that I have to develop a chatbot, right? There are chatbots that are available, right? So you work on those, take those things and modify that for your business process and implement it. There's no point in creating your own entire framework for chatbot if it is not part of your business process. You can work with a chatbot. Now the third one is outsource. Of course, it is core to your business, but I don't have the capacity, right? It requires 20-25 people team, and that too that you have to invest it for a year or so or 2 years or so. So then you outsource it. You have a control over your requirements, business requirement, alignment from your business with your business. You define your requirements. Make sure you monitor your outsourcing partner, and then get it delivered. So that way you can take a call on buy, build, or outsource.
Okay, that's I think amazing acronyms, or I heard it first time. To be frank, so you said buy, build, or outsource, right?
Yeah.
And while you were answering that particular framework, you talk about chatbots, and that was another my question. Like, while you are either buying it, building it, or you are outsourcing it, in all these situations, what will be your criteria? Should I use IT to support IT? So my idea is that I should use or rely on more of softwares, automation, or more on hiring people. So there is a balance of that also required. So what are the approach these days people are taking while going for digital transformation? It's like IT first, or reducing people, like AI is also in trend. So there, my thing will be like more of automation or more of people. What is your experience and what you support these days?
No, it has to be balanced, right? So you have to look at the specific criteria, what fits for what business problem. So then you can take decisions based on that. So if, of course, you also mentioned about AI.
Yeah.
So I think we have to evaluate in each of the areas where AI can help, right? So what I am doing is that now the AI tools that are available are getting much stronger, more matured, less hallucination, and it has to be business specific. So I'm working on some 2 3 areas, right? So I can slight deviation from your question, but I think I would like to mention about
Sure.
how effectively one can use AI, because there is a lot of noise is there, a lot of talk is there, but it has to be aligned with what you want to do, right? We do not want to do any projects for the sake of technology, right? So I am working on certain areas right now. So one area which is uh, in the digital engagement part that I was telling earlier is that we have to engage with our we have 3.5 lakh associates are there. We have 2000 plus organizations are there that we support as a staffing partners. Digitally engaging with them becomes very important. There is always a resistance in coming to an application, doing certain actions by the clients or by our associates, because it's not intuitive that way. So now building these AI based tools to directly engage with them, right? I was talking about the chatbot earlier. The chatbot is a bigger framework, rather a smaller word, is that this becomes a window where anything that is for the client to get access to, or any action that they want to do, or any information they want to take from us, get from us, we actually bring it all into that window. So what happens is that now with the help of generative AIs as well as agentic AIs, we can make it a conversational discussion through digital channel with the clients as well as associates. So they can come and say, hey, I want to actually change this particular information that I have already submitted. These are X number of things I want to change it. They submit it on the chatbot. The generative AI will understand, is this an information item? Is it an action item? If it is an information item, we fetch that information from our systems and give it back to the client. If it is an action item, so it will understand what is the action is there. Can I take that action? It will call my agentic AI behind it, and that will process the action and come back and tell the customer that it's been taken care of.
Okay.
If it cannot be done, say, okay, I have taken a request from you and I'm going to raise a request through my backend team. They will work on it and get back to you. So that way, that experience, you can make that experience wonderful.
So no, I think that's great. But when we are talking about these all development scenes, and what we have to do, either we need to develop more and more tools or go for people. So what will be our strategy? Because for digital transformation as well, you can have people doing the thing, or you actually in the process itself you onboard more tools. So how you will have that right balance, and what should be the preference we should be taking?
You're right. I think the right balance is important. Selection of tools which are very niche needs to be selected.
Hmm.
A tool which you may need 6 months to develop or a year to develop, it is already available, and it is already available and economically viable.
Okay.
In that case, you choose the tool, put it into your workflow. So you create a workflow, okay, to support this particular demand that we have right now. I need to develop this product. In this, there are 2 3 elements are there. It is not my core, and it is also a tool that is already is a niche product that specializes in that. Then you embed that. The remaining part you develop it. For
Okay.
that, you invest on your people. especially again it boils down to whether that particular thing is core to my business, and hence I want to retain that knowledge within my team. I ramp up my team during the development. And if there is a niche tool is there, then you go ahead and embed that tool as part of your business process. So that way you can take decision on that.
Okay. And let's say I've taken the decision on that particular front, and uh, another, I will go back to the your framework, because what I want to do. So one is, you said revenue growth, right? And from revenue growth we came here, and now you are saying, okay, either tool or team. And then the second point of your framework was about productivity, right? So now, how this digital transformation or technology will help me to increase the productivity? So for that also I need digital transformation, right? So
Absolutely.
so now
Absolutely.
tell me, what all can be part of this productivity framework?
So first is that you have to visit and keep visiting your business process. So there are entire business process landscape will be there. In a staffing organization, you have hiring business process, you have operations. Within that, your client onboarding, your associate onboarding, your employee onboarding, and monthly management of that life cycle of that entire associate, and then your financial operations,
Hmm.
compliance requirements. So end to end, you have to identify what are the business processes that are already automated,
Okay.
which of the business processes are not automated. So does it make sense to invest technology investment on it to further automate, or it's good enough as we speak? Because if it is repetitive and it is 50 people are working on that particular manual piece, then you start identifying which business processes needs to be automated. Once you identify this, you prioritize. What is the best value that I have from this business process automation? From hiring to operations to finance operations, accounting operations, compliance. So across all the gamut, so you identify the areas where you need to invest based on the calculation of how many people are working on that business process. Is it manual, semi-automated, automated? What is the technology cost to automate that? Again, take a decision, build, buy, or outsource, and then start investing on that. So towards that, again, it boils down to collaboration. I talked about collaborating with business or sales teams first. Now with the operations teams, we do a series of workshops
Mm.
to identify, prioritize the business processes that require automation, work on those things, jointly identify, give some value articulation. This is 100 points, this is a 80 points, this is a 60 points.
Mm.
Then you prioritize it. Hey, this is the project where the technology investment is moderate or minimum, and the value coming out from automating that particular business process is highest. You pick up those projects.
Mm.
So that is going to give you the best value for the money that you're putting in technology. We also consciously take a decision not to invest on technology in certain areas, because it's a niche activity that is happening, small activities happening, let it be manual. So hence your technology in investment will be in the right direction to improve operational productivity.
Okay, and for this productivity, when we say, so there, every organization want ROI, and this optimization and productivity also help me to get that more ROI on that. Any use case you have, maybe either in the first scenario we talk about revenue growth, or we talk about the optimization. Anything where you think by doing this particular project, that will actually enhance both together.
So I have a very good example, right? So
Okay.
I said we have a 3.5 lakh associates are there, right? So we generate 30 to 40,000 offer letters in a month.
Okay.
We onboard that many people
Oh God.
on the platform. Now they are, all these associates are not even, they're not coming to our Bangalore office and joining, right? So they're all distributed across India.
Hmm.
They can be in tier 1 city, tier 2 city, tier 3 city. And I have, for compliance purpose, right, I have to collect a lot of information, validate that information, and prove that this is the same person, and also in certain cases complete the BGB process for that person, certify this is the fully qualified person to be onboarded on our as our associate employee, complete that process. I cannot do this one manually. So I have to collect the information. I have to collect necessary documents that is needed for compliance purpose. It could be PAN number, bank details. And through API partners, through integration with some of the government APIs that are already available, we validate that this is the person and name of this person. Indian names are not 100% matching. So we have a fuzzy logic which will check this person is exactly same person that is matching to the documentation provided. What is the percentage match? If it is matching more than 80% plus, we conclude that this is the same person. Then go to the next step. This PAN belongs to that person or not? Then we go to the bank details. Okay, this bank details provided by this person is matching to that record as per the bank. Okay. We invoke bank APIs to get to know what is the name as in the bank details and match. Once we conclude it, then we'll go to the next step. Collect further information. Get EPFO information like what is the UAN number of that person. If there is a driver's license is there, the driver's license APIs are there. Does that driver's license provided belongs to that person or not? Everything happens within 15 minutes. So if I don't automate this one, imagine 30,000-40,000 onboardings that happen in a month, and somebody has to validate it manually. It's a humongous task. By just doing this particular business process, the cost advantage of the organization is humongous. Time and cost. I can validate and generate offer letter within hours, within the same day for that employee. Next day, that person can actually go and join the customer. So this is the level of automation is there. Of course, there are certain manual intervention is there. I was mentioning if the name doesn't exactly match, then we put it to a manual verification process. Oh, this is the same person, Patel. So there is my name is Jayateerth Mirji. In some records, it is Jayateerth Shrikant Mirji. Right? So it's the same person. They will just validate that this is the same person, approves it, get it done. So there are manual interventions are there, but it is 90% automated. That's a very good example of how do you tackle these highly scaled problems that we have to make it more optimized for the organization.
Okay. And the same then we are talking about optimization. I think that was again one part of your framework, because productivity, of course, we need to increase, and with the same time we need to do the optimization as well. And while doing the optimization, of course, we need to spend money. We need to put a lot of technology infrastructure, cloud maybe, or tools like latest AI or something which will help you to do optimization. But as per your experience, how long generally an organization take to get ROI out of it? Because you invest in a particular product, and then it takes some time. Maybe it is automated and you have investment. So what is the general life cycle of getting an ROI or a balance of the same?
So it depends on what is the scale of difference you're trying to bring to the organization. So when I'm talking about the operational productivity, especially if you're looking at, if I already have a system in place, right? So it has 80%, 85% of the business processes are already automated. So now I am trying to bridge the gap, bring it to the 95%. Right? In that case, there is an understanding of scale of that investment. Usually they are medium scale investments are there. So the ROI for these cases where I'm identifying the gaps in the business process and bridging them is within a year, right? So you invest maybe 40 lakhs, 50 lakh rupees to do that particular automation, and within a year that ROI will actually start identifying. You can recognize that ROI. However, if you're actually re-engineering a business process, you're looking at entirely develop a new business process. You may have to invest a year of technology investment if you're developing an entire business process which is new to the organization to support maybe one of the projects we have identified as a revenue. That operations team needs to be automated. When the investment can be a year, it will probably take 2 years for that ROI to break even. But of course, you expenditure that as a capex and amortize it for whatever the years that is needed, and that's how we can manage the cost. But I think you have to balance it and identify whether this is a minor minor intervention to optimize your business processes that are already automated, or I'm actually setting up a new business process.
In this, I will like to go in more deep, like if I want to see for my business. So, what all elements I should consider? Maybe a bit of technical or more detail oriented. That okay, these are the 5 or 4 things I should look into. That should I invest or not? Or before even putting in, either I need to re-engineer or need to build a new product. So, what all elements should I be considering in there? From infrastructure or current process perspective. Maybe there is any framework for the same.
So basically, you have to build some formulae, right? Empirical formulae that, okay, for running this business process, how many people are working, right? It's from operations team or finance team, whatever the team that you automating. And how often do they work, right? Is it a daily activity, hourly activity, a monthly activity? And what is that translates into people cost on the operations team, right? If it is 100 people working for, let's say, 40 hours in a week, which is almost entire week, and you're bringing it down to actually 50 people working for 20 hours, then it is a no-brainer. So you go ahead and take that decision. In certain cases, there are certain processes that are mandatory, like compliances, right? You want to automate compliance. Maybe one person is sitting and doing that. The person is taking 5 days to complete that process, but only one person is needed. But then delaying of finishing that compliance submission, right, a document submission, is going to attract a penalty from your government, or you have to adhere to the deadlines. Then in spite of that, you take a call. Hey, this is a compliance thing. It is a must-have. The taxation laws have changed. I have to modify that, right? So those are as a must-have projects are there. The ROI calculation is simpler when it comes to business process automations. Now, when large projects are there, then is when you have to be careful, right? Whether your ROI is actually a productivity from operations teams, how many new people you are expected to add, because there is projection there. Oh, it's a new business process I'm setting up. I need a 50 people team, 20 people team. Then by doing this technology investment, is it going to bring that 50 or 20 people team by 10% down or 50% down? So based on that, you can take a call on what you want to invest on that.
Okay, so that's for the optimization piece. And I think in your framework, you mentioned about digital engagement as well, right?
Yeah.
So that is something I will like to understand. So, okay, productivity, optimization, revenue growth, that is required. I go. So engagement, what does that mean? What does that stands for?
So the engagement, all the engagement with your customers or with your employees, right? In the staffing organization associate, which is the 3.5 lakh plus, no longer can be just manual, right? So while you need to have a personal touch with your clients, you have to have periodic checkup with your clients, visits, right? For your business growth, relationship management perspective, that is very important. However, for day-to-day business process engagement with the clients, right, you need to establish digital engagement platforms so that the client has a platform to engage with us, and they don't have to talk to somebody if it is a day-to-day activity. If they have to send you an input file, they have a query for you. If you have a simple action to take, see, can you please extend this person's contract another year, right? We have staffed somebody, say, extend the contract. For these things, you don't need to, have somebody call you, talk to our organizations, an operations person, say, okay, good. Then the person anyway does it on a system, right? So you expose that features to the customer. So digitally engage with that customer so that they feel, okay, for these things, I don't have to talk to somebody. So when a person visits from our organization, is not about operations, day-to-day activities. It's about business growth, relationship management, or even some cases build personal relationship with that person. Talk about hobbies with each other rather than, okay, why this is not done, right? So, or can you do it urgently? Okay, there is a system that is available. You submit it, right? If there are exceptions happens on the system, then you actually have managed that exception through human interaction. Second type of digital engagement with the clients is integrate with their systems.
Hmm.
So when I onboard a particular person on our system, we have to send that information back to them. So integrate with their systems so that there is a stickiness with that customer. Now that they have built an integrated system, so they cannot run away from us very easily. Right? So it's important, right? That we, many a times customers might, okay, somebody give a quotation which is 5% lesser than what we are servicing with them. They don't want to go because I have established such a strong connection digitally with them, right? My information is flowing with them. Their information is coming back to us. That way, when you have a digital engagement, stickiness, that is a client stickiness comes. At that point in time, somebody in the procurement team of the client should not take a call on a very small reason, okay, I will reduce the business with you. No, I can't reduce the business. It is productivity, improve the productivity of that department of that customer, influence that very effectively, then your digital engagement stickiness will become much more stronger. So that way you can manage relationship personally and do the business processes through digital engagement. Similarly with your customers, end customers, the B2C customers, or with your associates in our case, is that you digitally engage with them, right? If they have to download, do the attendance, download their salary slips, form 16s, whatever the information that they need, you give it to them digitally. If they have even a query, you create a platform for managing their query. That is where AI automation will come. Answer the questions if it is a clarifications on the fly in the application. And if it is further inquiries there, then you bring it back through ticketing process to your backend process and somebody will address them. So that way, if you do digitally engage them, then you focus on exceptions, focus on special scenarios, focus on relationships rather than day-to-day activities. That is where the digital engagement with your end customers or your employees becomes very important.
Fair enough. Do you think when these kind of digital engagement, they are of course now when you give these scenarios, I'm getting a flavor. Okay, because there's a lot of data exchange and lot of dependencies has been increased, and digital engagement will help in the business in the long run. But human interaction compared to digital engagement, which one is the better? Do you think we are going away from the human interaction? And because right now everyone is talking about AI as well, and agentic AI is also coming in, right? So how AI plays the role, and how you think this digital engagement soon flowing in a way that human interaction will not be needed for the businesses going forward?
As I told, it has two parts to it, right? So an extension of implementation of an AI. So let's say, the same case that I was taking, that client has set of queries and there are certain actions they want us to take. So I'm working on at the moment a chatbot, which is a combination of chatbot, generative AI, and as well as an agentic AI. So what a customer has a question. The question is there, hey, when am I going to receive my invoice? So quickly I understand, generative AI will understand this is the question. I'll check in my system through agentic AI and say that, oh, this particular customer invoice is getting processed. It's going to be available in the next 2 hours or next day, whatever. That information comes and presents to the customer right away, right? Second scenario, let's take that the person has an action item, right? They want to extend the contract, as I'm mentioning, or they want to do an action which requires 2-3 people to work in the behind. So receive that action, identify if there is a systemic action is there or somebody has to work on it separately, pass it on, and then when the action is done, you send that information back to the customer digitally. So you can use the information action oriented things to enhance experience with the customer will be happy because the customer in that case doesn't want an human interaction. But when it comes to human interaction where the relationship needs to be developed, there is a negotiation needs to happen. In that case, human interaction is very important. So when the customer picks up a call, I need to know whether the person is asking for an information that is already there in the digital platform or it is important. So always it needs to be important conversation, not something that is mundane or a regular activity. So that way you always need to balance. You cannot replace the human interaction with respect to those exceptional scenarios, special scenarios that must be continued. If somebody misinterprets and develops some bot on that, the customer will not be happy.
Yeah, but I think many organization or partner are claiming that they will do that in future. That's the next versions which are coming in. But I think somewhere, as you said rightly, human interaction is definitely required.
No, there will be, just to add one thing, there will be certain scenarios that will need to cross that boundary.
Mm.
See, for example, again, going back to the large scale problems that we have. When I said that we generate 30,000 offer letters or 40,000 offer letters a month, we interview multifold of those candidates. So now, if I have to screen somebody, whether they are interested to join our organization, this is the job description, this is the salary range that you have. Are you interested? This is the location, this is the designation. If I have to take, human interaction is impossible for us. So then I integrate with the voice chatbots or WhatsApp based chatbots to check that. Once I have that filtered criteria, then I can attack the problem to only people who are interested. In the past, that used to be human
Exactly,
interaction.
that is what
So
digital
it should not be,
transformation.
right? It has to be
Yeah.
crossed. But it has to be crossed where absolutely there is a productivity improvement and also the adoption on the other sides as well. If the person is not interested, then the person is going to answer, no, I'm not interested. Then I'm not wasting time of that person or neither our recruiters who are trying to interact with them. The recruiters can focus on that, only that section of the people who are interested for the position that we have open.
Okay, fair enough. I think great insights on building that framework. So for me now, it's totally clear. Digital transformation. When you talk about revenue growth, digital engagement, productivity, operational side of it, and then optimization. So that is something where I now get to know. Okay, this is where I need digital transformation. So uh, let's say any organization, they have now evaluated, okay, so either I want to go for optimization or revenue growth. So what will be my first step to look out for? Either should I be building the team, investing in infrastructure, or security is again perspective to it, right? So how should I lean towards uh, these are different aspects, right? I even want to do fast, I want to leverage. I think I outsource or something that I have asked. So, like, a lot of combinations which comes in a strategic. So, can you tell me? So, I have identified through this framework, I have to go for transformation. Now, what all elements and what should I be looking for?
Now, one thing that you mentioned is information security, right? So that also needs to be, the entire framework needs to be foundational and supported by the information security framework. So we do not want to do any project that might compromise of any of our security framework. So we need to consider whether my code is secure, my infrastructure is secure, my network is secure, my information is secure, right? There are obviously implement all the policies, minimum policies that are needed, and we need to continuously work on enhancing security initiatives year on year. That framework is also very important for the organization. Now, you mentioned about how do I go about it, right? Yes. So the framework is important. So you take a mapping that is needed, right? So across all these areas, you identify what are my priorities, right? So you start taking the decisions. It's a metrics that I usually maintain, right? You start an initiative. So across, is it a revenue growth project? Is it an operations project? What is the infrastructure investment is needed? What is the people investment? Build by decision based on the criteria that you have to make, and then come to your, either if it is an engagement, does that have an element of AI element? Can I improve my organizational productivity by implementing AI tools? Developer productivity, of course, developer AI tools are there. Evaluate which developer AI tools can help your developer productivity. Then evaluate all these things can under the security umbrella and take the decision.
Okay. And one of the important team, apart from relying on the tools, we need to have a good team as well. How you like to increase the productivity of the team, or how you will make them accountable and ensure that you have the right people placed in the right place?
Very good question. So In fact, if you are doing a large scale digital transformation project, right, so then composition of that team is very important.
Yes.
It cannot be just a technology project.
Mm.
Many a times organizations start investing directly on technology teams, technology and all those things. Team composition is very important. Representation from business processes, representations from finance teams, representation from the sales teams, and functional teams, user experience teams, and core technology team. You have to define the structure and identify what are the roles and responsibilities.
Mm.
Who is going to define the high level business requirement? Articulation of value and the cost articulation has to come from business in coordination with technology teams. Once you have identified that business statement, transforming that into functional requirements, and you are getting into level 2, level 3 of your product requirements, documenting them, having periodic reviews on whatever was my original objective is being met when you're getting into the uh, defining of requirements and development. Periodic reviews are very important, and representation of decision makers are needed.
Mm.
Once you construct this team, then execution will follow. For that, regular, I mean, your process wise agile processes are there that you can do, follow that and continue with the process. But however, the construction of the team with all the key stakeholders becomes very important.
Okay. And while starting with the digital transformation journey, right? Uh, what challenges people face? Because so far we are talking about this is how to do, but I know it's not a easy walk, right? And people have legacy systems, people have legacy mindset. I must say that as well, right? So what are the challenges people face? That is one thing which I will like to ask. Followed by the mistakes people make. So.
So, very good point. So, the change management becomes very important. If you are defining an entirely new business process, new way of doing things,
Hmm.
there is a natural resistance to adopt to that. Let's say you have an existing legacy system, you modernized it. Obviously, your user experience would have changed.
Hmm.
Business processes have been simplified, modified. Although it is simple, it is different from what they are used to. There is a natural resistance to adoption. So that's the reason when I was talking about the construction of the team, right? So if they are part of the process from the beginning,
Okay.
and they are feeling from the beginning, they are made to feel that, hey, I am part of this journey. Not that somebody has some leadership, some think tank has actually developed this particular solution and they are enforcing on me. Then there is a challenge. I have seen that a lot of projects take a longer time to implement it, even though the expected value is great from that system. So involve everybody from the beginning and also manage change management becomes very important. More training, right? Articulation, what is value for that particular group of people it is getting deployed to, and then slowly internalize it and follow that.
Okay, I think great perspective. You talk about the collaboration, the need of collaboration, which we required, right? Different team, department wise, you have mentioned from sales, marketing, HR, and tech, everyone need to be on the same table. And there also, we are getting so many challenges that collaboration may not happen. And you also mentioned they need to be there from the very first. Starting point so that change management is easy for us. But when we talk about these large enterprises, right, it's a global in nature, and they have offices in different places. Maybe any case study or use case you like to share with us where you have actually seen either collaboration is working fine and have given a amazing results, or maybe there was because of lack of collaboration it didn't work. Anything which you like to share with us?
I think I have a very good example. In my previous organization, we were working on a large scale digital transformation project. So, this was a group of cruise companies where they have acquired cruises across the globe. There is one cruise company, two cruise companies in US, there is one in UK, and there are a couple in Europe, Italy, and there is Germany. So these are different cruise lines, like one is luxury, one is economical. And of course, these are on different countries. Their currency is different, language is different, and their routes are different, the packages are different. But it is the same business. So we were developing an e-commerce product, one single platform with variations of the same platform, suiting for that country, that taxation laws, that currency, and that language. So we started with only a couple of these group of companies, because customer said, okay, start working with these two cruise companies. We started working with them. They were mainly US driven, because the central authority was US driven. They started. We finished 6 months of project. 70% of the requirements are done. Then they asked, okay, let's start involving rest of the cruise companies. When the Italian company and UK company came, they said, this is not what we want. So now a lot of investment has happened, and they said it's not what we want. So they were not involved. Of course, we were outsourcing IT organization.
Okay.
We did not have a lot of control over that. But our customer did not involve all their stakeholders. So suddenly, of course, we are invested on this particular project and we want to complete the project. Then we said, okay, let's find out, right? Of course, we did not do collaboration. So all the teams, we went to UK. All these companies, we spent 2 weeks, non-stop 2 weeks, going through each of the functionalities that we already have developed, already had designed, and started tick marking them. Okay, does this apply? Does this apply to you? What modification do you need for your country? So once we finished, we realized 80 to 85% of the requirements are addressed by the platform. Another 15% is anyway where actually, a lot of it was still under development. So we modified the path for that. One of the reasons what we realized is it was not that the product was not ready.
Okay.
It was that the right teams were not involved at the right time in the decision making process. So there was a resistance. Once we looked into this deep dives and all those things, they also started feeling that, oh, my recommendations are getting considered in the platform. And we still developed a single platform. There was no variation in the platform.
Okay.
Exactly same platform was developed, deployed for all the 5 or 6 cruises under that umbrella successfully. Of course, it took another 6 months to get there, but it was very, very successful project.
Amazing. I think that's a really great example. So with this, I think there's one more thing you mentioned about the optimization too. So collaboration is important. Then optimization is also which we look out for. And when people generally go for digital transformation, they look out for the option like cloud, because that's easy to come. And as we were discussing that the fast development, fast infrastructure and everything needed. And suddenly we put everything in cloud, and if the not right kind of evaluation is not done, then cost is also going high. So any perspective on that? Maybe either you should go on prime or you should go cloud, or my major concern is how I can actually optimize my cost as well and stop burning my hand over there. So what strategies I need to follow in that particular place?
Oh, definitely. This is the most important, especially if you're an Indian company earning in rupees. This is the most important concern that all the organizations have. Cloud is very, very helpful, very, very effective in managing your scale, performance, and all. However, if you don't do the right way, then it will become very expensive. And if you're at the beginning of your business journey, it becomes really challenging. How do you manage that? So I'll give you one example, right? So in previous organization, so we moved from local data center within our office local center to cloud. That was absolutely necessary because we did not have the capability to manage your data center, right? Your own data center management means you have to make sure that power is managed, air conditioning is managed, your fire hazards are managed. A lot of requirements are there, and the buildings that we were in was not even suitable for that, right? You have to change the building to be right. It's the right decision to go to the cloud infrastructure. Now, if you have gone to the cloud infrastructure, you have to understand how is cost is going to be. Right? Of course, the formula that all the clouds use is so confusing that you cannot predict your costs very easily, right? And second is that when the business grows, your data, your processing requirement both of them started growing,
Mm.
right? So we thought, okay, it's going to just costs X. It started becoming 2x per month, 3x per month.
Mm.
Then we looked at it, what is causing this? Oh, so data is growing, and your processing capability is also requirement is also growing, and due to compliance we cannot delete the data, and your growth is not net, right? Your growth is gross. Means if your data needs to be maintained for several years due to compliance,
Yeah.
if the data which is also not valid or not useful now, you still need to use it, keep it in the organization. So you cannot, I mean, of course there are archival strategies are there, still it is growing. So what we did is, first we looked at several angles. Number one, first angle is that is all these systems have to be on the cloud. Identified a private data center partner, so migrated some of these systems which are non business critical systems are there to a private data center. So I know that this is a fixed cost, right? Usage also, in the cloud, usage increases your cost,
Yeah.
but when you have data center, usage does not increase your cost, right? So your CPU, you have defined your infrastructure, so non critical system I have moved it, peripheral business processes have started moving there. So now I am fixing that cost, which is monthly. This is the cost, it is not variation. Of course my business critical systems must be there in the cloud, because the variation in demand and dynamic nature of that, I need to maintain that. So the second thing is that what we looked into, which is at that point, I'm talking about several years back, that we were unaware that what elements of costs can be eliminated within the cloud, right? Shut down your systems on the weekends, whatever is not necessary. After 7 o'clock, all developer systems are, or 8 o'clock, all the developer systems are shut down and needs an approval. My approval is needed if anybody wants to bring it back. So we started doing those changes to our processes. Data, we identified the data, which of course you archive it in the cold freeze. But at the same time, some of the data which is archaic in nature, again we moved to that data also moved to a private data center. So with this hybrid strategy, the cost started coming down 20%, 30%. Now what we are doing, now what we are doing is that now there are AI tools which will run on your infrastructure, understand your AWS and give further recommendations. Hey, this can be dynamically shut down. This can be this capacity you have capacitized for highest peak demand, right? But rest of the days you can bring it down. I will bring it down for you. So those are the tools that are coming right now, so that you can bring it further down.
Awesome. I think great strategy, and maybe everyone, either it's already in someone who has established organization, maybe some startups who are watching, and before they do, they also look into, okay, before going to Glide, look into all these aspects. Sometimes people just it's not they don't want to, they are not aware. They get to know, and then they brought it back. Another interesting point which I was thinking, like, for digital transformation, how important is the time, right? Because you are making your decision that if you should go for digital transformation or not, and if that is there, what is the time to market from the new products or the strategies, when we were talking about revenue growth perspective as well. So how important is that particular element?
No, this is very important. So basically, if you are
Any use case if you have,
Oh,
I will
definitely.
also.
In one of the examples is that we were working on this a new business line, right? So the sales teams were not very sure that whether this is going to be my significant revenue line or not. So the product features, they wanted to sell it in the market. They have identified, but the confidence that, okay, this is going to bring me X crore rupees a month or not. So what we did is we collaborated with the business and say, okay, we are going to develop a highly flexible system. You can take it to the market. Okay, try it out. So we identified that MVP that I mentioned earlier, that developed MVP within 6 months, right? But the user experience is wonderful. from a functionality perspective, whatever is the key attracting point for that business that we want to improve our revenue in is already developed. So we put it in the market. What we realized is that while that is serves the purpose, that the feedback from the market was in a slightly different direction. They liked what we have developed, but the add-on functionalities were not in line with the roadmap that we have developed. So roadmap, they wanted to change it because this was a very niche product, right? If we had taken 1 year and developed it, and then again the changes come onto that product, then it is a challenge. So time to market, what is the best composition of the product before you go to market, is defining that, and having the architecture also flexible enough to deviate is very important. So by doing this was the functionality that we wanted to develop, was an HR Tech. Of course, it is an HR Tech product, but they also wanted to have a lead generation product.
Okay.
Right? So we were thinking, okay, we will do an extension of HR Tech product. It was very good. It was very strong product that we've already developed. But then if you actually do a deviation, include that one, it gave me a biggest customer.
Okay. So, and the second part of it, what people make the mistakes while going for a digital transformation journey, which they can be easily avoided.
So 2-3 points, right? One is that doing projects for sake of technology, right? So you cannot start a project just because I have a technology. So is it mapping to your business processes?
Okay.
Is it mapping to what we want to achieve? So I have seen projects just because the technology is new, technology is great, so we implement it. Second mistake is assessment of cost of the project. So you take time to define what is your objectives, do a detailed estimation, take time, and implement. During the implementation, of course, deviations will be there, 10%, 15% still expected, but it should not double, triple, right? So assessment of effort involved in the implementation of that particular project, a lot of mistakes happen. So you take time. Discovery is an important phase. In discovery, you take time to understand what you're trying to do, what is the effort that is there, what are the other cost elements are there, IT infrastructure in AWS or whatever the cloud that you're on, what is the cost involved in there? When you start using the product, is it going to be linear to how you're using it? Articulate that, estimate that, and put it in your project. So sometimes people mistake that, okay, this is the people cost, but then you also have to running cost. You have to calculate your running costs. So that is second mistake people do. The third one is that, especially if you're going with an outsource track, so if you are giving that responsibility to third party, make sure that the alignment of your detailing of your requirements and alignment are very, very detailed, right? So once you do that and align the outsource partner very much, many a times what happens is that outsource partners will give you lower quotation with all caveats, constraints, assumptions in the proposal, but when it comes to execution, say this is additional scope. So you make sure that you define your requirements very clearly and monitor assumptions and meet those assumptions so that your cost is not going out of the hands.
Sure, I think great insights, Jayateerth, specifically that best practices which we have told, or the challenges which we have discussed, right? So my last segment of this particular episode, where I will like to direct you to my audience directly, okay? So now there is a firm which is going to start the digital transformation journey, and if they are going, what is the 3 things you will like to tell them and advise them from the perspective of that while you are starting your digital transformation journey? Please consider these 3 at most. So my audience is all yours.
Sure.
Yeah.
So basically, what I'm telling is that business to technology alignment is number 1. Value articulation is number 2. Number 3, assessment of your cost. For all the 3 things, if you consider, these are the 3 important things that you have to consider before you taking a decision.
Sure. I think my audience must be loving this episode by now, right? So guys, please do comment and let us know how you like it. And thank you for being on the show. I have really learned a lot from you, and even now I'm thinking for CyberFrat when we are going to do all these best practices, I will like to take ahead. And as a ritual and as a last gesture, I have a goodie bag for you for giving us so much great insights. So thank you for joining in, and I will.
Thank you for inviting. Definitely, this is a very good experience talking to you. I've been working with your organization and I've been following your organization for a long time, and I'm really glad how your organization has grown in the last just 2-3 years. I'm really proud of what you have done.
Sure.
All the
Thank you.
best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next week.